But they have qualified over Blood Rush today, 2-0, in what was probably the most convincing series we've seen.
Very dominant. It was very dominant.
We are moving into our second do or die, make or break game, which will be myztro versus Sandels. Now, myztro were called a different team last week.
They were in Vico last week. Recently changed.
But now it's myztro. They've actually changed their in-game names too. So I'm assuming this is like more legitimate now as a unit. But definitely played well before. But they're going to have to play even better today, considering they are up against Sandels, the Finnish team. We've already seen do amazing things before when they were against Last Minute. That looked very powerful.
They were really dangerous, and it was just a really good level of composure. Draku's movement on Anarchy was really important too. On basically every map they played, it was just this next level of comfort. When you watch fantastic teams that are well coordinated, it's fast, it's aggressive. It's like an aggressive attack, but an aggressive defense as well, where the second that soul goes, they would just zip it to the next priority, whoever's holding the soul, or just head off an entire team and make it very difficult. They put that chokehold on the team that's really trying to get back into the action. It's just denying momentum really is the aim of Sacrifice. The best victory you can have is a snowball victory where you get it early and you just ride that percentage as you go bit by bit. And the second they even have a hope of taking it back, you're there ready, one step ahead, and you deny that immediately. And it's just a great way of playing.
It's not just a case of get soul, defend soul, because there are a few sort of, milestone, significant moments of the round that will happen. The big one being the power-up, right? You can get that first soul. You can hold on to it for a couple of minutes. But as soon as that soul comes up, if the four of you just decide to still sit on that obelisk and you concede that power-up, that can be quad, that can be protection, and that can make all the difference. And we see that over and over and over and over again. So there really is an art to being able to control everything at the same time. But here we go, myztro versus Sandels. Only one of these teams can make regionals, and they've both been playing amazingly well over the last couple of weeks. So we'll be sad to see one of them go, but that is just the way it goes.
But that myztro lineup is going to be Garpy, Hell, Hypno, and Vu. A lot of UK players, but Vu already qualified for the duel regionals. He's a very talented dueler himself. Hell, very prominent Quake 4 player. And really take part in this match.
Guy with that early choo-choo, that double kill with the charge. That's one way to start things off. It looks like Sandels, they're able to, myztro able to drop off the soul first, so Sandels is going to be designated to Obelisk B this time. Does die on the way though. Draku unfortunately commits suicide.
Now Vu, that dedicated Anarchy role, so it's likely to be Draku versus Vu, the battle of the Anarchies. Big assault coming out from Sandels.
Yeah, Vu forced to pop this injection to keep himself alive. Misses the shot on Vu from behind. That is unfortunate. Gaia there with another charge. Gaia getting the most kills with that the bull rush with Scale Bearer that I think we've seen anyone else do so far.
He's been lethal on that Scale Bearer pick today.
Oh, and Hypno gonna believe on that soul lag as he falls down.
Now Draku with that soul, really soaking up that rail. Hell taking it back. It's gonna exchange. These consistent exchanges, something we're very familiar with seeing at this point.
It's getting no Rat, aka Volant, on this Nyx.
Oh no! Gaia did not have the health to take the rocket jump. Accidentally just blew himself to bits.
And Vu able to once again get hold of the soul. Kind of jump from behind, but here we go. Sandels, two people here, ready and waiting for him. He gets the injection off. He manages to thread the needle and sneak past them, but was he able to drop it off first? I believe so.
Here comes another big push though. Gonna really control this obelisk. The power-up's gonna spawn in 5 seconds time. Draku getting fragged. Minimal health to fight for this power-up. Now, Hypno with that chunky, healthy Sorlag and protection.
So if there's one champion you don't want to have protection, it's probably Sorlag. It's quite dangerous. Oh, gets that mid-air shot.
Really good switch. Just catching guarantee. Tries to get on Draku, but yeah, Anarchy's got that air mobility a bit harder to pin down. Hypno just fighting for his life, and they have been able to successfully bring that soul back to Obelisk A. Sandels looking to have a bit of a harder time than we saw last time. The nature of this bracket, as we go later down, the teams become a lot more dangerous.
Tries to throw the soul out, but again, Hypno able to just put on this defense, but Dansk with that defensive gauntlet to try and steal this back away. Garpy there, ready and waiting to not let him do so.
As the longer these fights go on, the more that soul is just going to tick down. Sandels yet to obtain a single piece of percentage yet. 0 versus 56. Dansk! Oh, God!
Oh, that was Unfortunate.
He went a little bit too far. I mean, at least he dropped off the soul, but he did go a little bit too fast.
Garpy on this next though, even though it might not be the Anarchy speeds, still a very fast champion at getting around, and just as I can say that, immediately able to just cover all that distance. But two people of Sandels here. Dansk has it now, drops off the soul to Dracu, so he tries to get away, but Hell with that direct rocket to absolutely put a stop to that.
He was just
Hell putting it straight back into the cathedral.
He was just ready. He was just ready for them to come around that corner. But I feel like there's a lot of agility on the side of both teams right here, and Burial Chamber will just naturally complement that. Big defense coming out of myztro. Sandels still looking to try and command this, but just Dansk had no choice but to stand into the acid and take this free damage. And it's going to make it easier for Hypno to land that rail. He's going to know exactly where the opponent is because the damage number ticking down goes through walls. A very important asset for Sorlag. Here comes the power up. It's going to be quad damage. Dansk going straight through, manages to get it, but he's going to have to make this count. But with 19 HP...
He does not have a lot of health at all. We've already seen how fast you can get focused down with the quad. But he has teammates there ready and waiting.
He still can't afford to take a single rail, but Dracu making the marathon down. You can look at how many members of myztro are going towards B to head him off.
Only two here so far. Dracu can get around. When these 1v1s, gets a nice quick snap rail. The injection forced out though. Nice. He's going to get the follow-up, so Vu goes down to 2 rails from Dracu. Wonderful aim, and Hell takes him down as well. Dracu single-handedly keeping his team into this one. Oh, what a trade though. Quad damage.
That was really well played from Dracu. I'm wondering if it was enough though, because here
do you
comes
see that
myztro.
Quad acid tick? 40 damage per tick. That is disgusting.
Yeah, the quad damage can apply to abilities also.
Unfortunately, even though Dracu just made that amazing one-man siege, unable to make it last too long, as already myztro have this percentage ticking up, 90%, 10 left to go. And Dansk goes down.
Right, as Anki says, killing it, just dies.
I think this might be it. We can see there's a couple of people of Sandels here, 3 of them. They're going to do it. They need to do it now.
There's quite a lot of them, but myztro just closing in like a vice. They take out everybody. And at that stage, that's it. Everyone's going to get it down. They're going to try and defend, but they're going to have no choice but to do it one at a time because of the spawn times. And that's not going to be enough. myztro with a comfortable round 1.
I mean, comfortable is the right word. You know, they had some moments where they weren't so dominant, and Sandels were able to sneak the soul away. You know, Dracu kind of being that catalyst to enable those pushes to come through, but ultimately myztro were just holding on to it. And again, it just comes down to getting hold of that obelisk particularly and just defending it so well. We see over and over and over again.
We're starting to see teams become more comfortable on both sides, but I still think on Burial Chamber, with that sort of cathedral, it's by far a preferred side.
And they were just waiting. They knew he was likely to do the Ghost Walk sort of bait, waiting for it. And they just shot rockets down as soon as it respawned, and unfortunately unable to survive.
Rat thought he'd give it a go, but the rest of the team ready and waiting, I suppose.
Gaia 100 health, but already Garpy is positioned up with a super shotgun waiting, and Vu backs it off into B on purpose. Just wanted to maximize the amount of time he can get some percentage on the board. It is outnumbered. Dansk trying to stop it. There we go. So Sandels have access to it. But oh no, the suicide.
Trading it 1 for 1.
It's actually quite uncommon to see a ranger commit suicide with rocket damage of all things. So you know you're particularly low when going for it.
Yeah,
put this one back off.
100%. But we talked about how Obelisk A, that cathedral, was such a popular defending point, but right now myztro have actually got the other side, and they're still looking to be just as strong. But you're a little bit more prone to rails from this side, as you can see right here. Like, because there's a lot more distance to cover, if you are the attacker, you can really pick your opponent down with those rails bit by bit. By the time you go in, you've either got a couple of frags already, or the enemies are a bit weak and they can't defend as effectively.
But this is a big thing though, this time, because myztro have access to, I believe, both Anarchy and a Nyx themselves. When Dracu is able to get hold of the soul, they do a much better job of chasing him down and not letting him safely drop it off.
Anarchy's pace is definitely affected when there is another Anarchy on the enemy team. He will just get chased down so much easier. He's not going to really slip away and get that free drop-off the way you would otherwise expect. And here comes that power-up once more, but much less percentage built up this time round, so I think Sandels can afford to make this risk and go in for that power-up for their next push.
But it does mean that Vu is able to just quite uncontestedly get that drop back on, but concedes the power up in the time, so Dansk is now on this protection.
Yeah, I feel like
A lot of frags coming out from Sandels. This will be an easy take.
I feel like letting myztro take that soul and drop it off was a necessary step. I think everyone on Sandels knew that was going to happen, but if they can get access to this protection, which they have been able to do, if the protection holder can remain stacked or at least enough to survive, they're going to drop it off. Now, protection will run out. If myztro get a good offense, they're not going to be defending against a protected ranger anymore.
Of course, but that was actually a really good play from Sandels to protect the protected player. You know, you've got that protection, you're already hard enough to kill, but if you have all your boys backing you up, especially if you're holding the soul, you can definitely make it a pain. But at the same time, Hypno now, Sorlag has access to the soul, holding onto it, picks up the heavy armor, getting the soul away from him now is going to be quite difficult unless they can get a good situation, and Garpy able to take him down with a mid-air rocket. Well played. Topping himself up, getting the soul.
But they've still got plenty of frags on board, plenty of members of myztro ready there to head him off. Go with him, help him drop it off. And they've got it down Obelisk again, but it's not going up as fast. We're on 30% now. But it's the speed of which both teams have these agile champions, so it's not going to be a free drop-off every single time, like we have seen earlier in this tournament, where we saw team compositions almost be a little bit outmatched. No Anarchy on one team versus a very agile and talented Anarchy on another. It's a hard situation to deal with, but when you both get the same levels of agility on both teams, it completely is a night and day performance.
Well, the proof is in what you see here, though. Sandels here now in force, picks up a little bit of an armor. We can see Garpy very low, but getting one rail with this tiny bit of health left, and Rat is going to take that final kill anyway to get him away. But we can see myztro getting a bunch of kills in the feed up now just to hold that defense. And right now, 57% and going on. The power-up is going to be up in 15 seconds, though. How do we play around this now?
I mean, normally you have to make a choice, but right now, I don't feel like Sandels have much of a choice. They're really trying to sort of sit there and take that point. Trying to get the soul away. myztro, an uncontested catch. I think Sandels may have opted to try and take the obelisk while everyone's focusing on the quad damage, but they weren't even able to do that. And because of that, myztro having quad damage and the soul to defend, this is difficult for them to deal with.
Garpy too. I mean, I know unfortunately he did just fall there, but Garpy and Hypno particularly have been doing a lot of work with this power-up already. Especially someone like Hypno. I mean, Sorlag, such a hard champion to deal with, usually quite low in health right now. But, oh, how did that miss?
I have no idea how that rail missed. But Gaia does control the quad damage because of it. Looking to get a couple of rails, does just that. Draku with the run back. Now he's going to get headed off, I think. Looking for the rest of his team to really sit there and support him. Here comes one member of myztro, trying to head them off. It's going to be Vu, actually. Draku.
Oh, no, we're able to get in 3 kills. No, that's actually 2 kills, because Vu, unfortunately, commits suicide.
Garpy dropping off once again. Kind of weak, but not going to matter.
Oh, wow. You
Meeting
see
him
how
off.
fast he was able to move near the wall there by taking so much mid-air damage.
That clean 180. Another missed rail. Not going to matter too much. Just look at how much percentage is going down. 3 more %. They're going to win. Likely to call this a map at this stage. Rat gets fragged.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Oh no, Rat
getting
gets
very
the flag.
close.
That's
it. Yeah, wow, we didn't even have time to see,
Yeah.
thanks to the respawn timers, but just like that. I mean, very dominant. A lot more one-sided than I was expecting to see.
It's kind of strange actually seeing, I think, Sandels on the back foot like this, because they looked so strong. They had a really, really close series against Dream Team Magic in week number 1, of which it was hard to call. You know, up until that final map, it was hard to call the result. And on the flip side today, they looked really, really strong in the earlier stages of the tournament. But as we're moving on, the competition is starting to ramp up. And myztro in particular, I mean, they're playing like a team that is here to play. Looks like they've been recently picked up by a team or something like that, which means that the pressure just becomes much higher up as well, where, okay, if we're now representing something else, now we've really got to give it our A game. We've got to make these regionals, and I think the gameplay is reflected in that.
But what an amazing way to relieve that pressure than qualifying, then making it, making it into that final situation. You know, you've put in all the work for 2 weeks of constant grinding, and now they find themselves a mere single map away from making it to the regional finals in a few weeks' time. So it can all be worth it. At the same time, we saw Sandels do a good job of adapting last time. They didn't look as solid in the very, very first round, but as the set went on, they got better and better and better to the point that they were unstoppable. They need to do the exact same thing now, but I can't imagine myztro is going to make that easy.
Well, if you're riding a lot of momentum like these guys are, that was a really good map for them. You rarely see a team sort of lose that, and they can't really keep up with that flow that they've already established across the entirety of one map.
A very complete composition.
Yeah.
You know, their champion choices were amazing. Anarchy, Sorlag, Ranger, Nyx, all picked for their own specific reasons. I can't really imagine a map that's not going to be a good choice on as a team. You know what I mean? It just seems to tick all the boxes. And we see all these champions as a four, we see them quite often. So seeing them together is just, you have this broad team covering everything you possibly need it to.
That's going to be really useful in this situation where you need to make sure you cover those bases. Because if your team composition has a glaring weakness of any sort, that's going to be something a team can exploit. And at this stage in competition, where this could be the map that determines whether Sandels are alive in the tournament or whether they're eliminated from sacrifice completely, you need to make sure that you have that bulletproof team composition. And right now, myztro look to be just that. But we'll see.
So, however, also a nice bright neon blue scale bearer to look forward to.
So on both sides there, we didn't get to see what the fourth pick was, but the other champions, again, very traditional.
The big one, I think, the big one here is Sandels have got Ruins of Sarnath. This, I would say, is, it's fair to say, their strongest map we've seen them play on by far, is Sandels on Ruins. So not a huge surprise to see them go to it now. They're going to need to make sure that they are as dominant on this map as we always see them, because this is their last chance.
But I think because this is their last chance, then this is why we see them pull out all the stops and go, right, we're going to go straight into what we consider our strongest map, or one of our strongest maps, and we're not going to mess around. You know, there's no time for games here. This is do or die. If we win, we're alive. If we lose, we're out. So going into this match, team composition, the big thing we saw here actually was really, really fantastic scale bearer play from Gaia, which on Ruins of Sarnath was super strong, and Draku's Anarchy runs, where he was able to get from one obelisk to another very comfortably, hard to keep up with, but on the flip side of that, now he's going up against another Anarchy who's going to really try and stop him from doing that, and in some ways should do the same thing back.
Indeed, but on the topic of the scale bearer plays, though, I have never seen someone get so many bull rush kills in a practical, like, competitive game as we see from Gaia, particularly, you know, just because it's still got the longest cooldown in the world, but at the same time, you know, it's definitely not going to be having it constantly, so you need to be careful. But his choice on when to time it has just been impeccable. Oh, and that first frag goes to Dansk. Wonderful use of the Dire Orb, and as we can talk about short cooldowns, how about 20 seconds? I think fights taking place immediately. They can really be, I guess, the setter of what we're about to see, because if you get fragged immediately, Gaia with a double charge! You know what I was just talking about? You were just talking about that. How about that? Now they get their obelisk immediately. Already Sandels off to a stronger start than we've seen before. Gaia's, it's his timing, right? Timing is key in Quake for all pickups, for all items, for all abilities. Everything comes down to timing, and Gaia has it down to the finest detail. But it also means he's timing that bull rush, so he's not even just like timing it so he's moving at the time. The way it works is you move faster the longer you're in the bull rush, and the faster you move, the more damage you do when you come into contact and impact an enemy. So he's having to time it so he hits the peak of his speed as it respawns, as he's on it. So that's not even just timing, that's distance. This guy is ready and is optimized with this champion. That mid-air was just disgusting from so far away. Oh, Draku's going to get the frag though. He dropped it off.
Yeah, here comes myztro. Looking to come up behind, but 32% and climbing already is a nice start.
It is an amazing way to start things off, especially considering how that first map went. Boo trying to get it away, does die, but drops it down first. So gets that distance covered up, throws it back up though, but myztro are once again ready to stop him from doing so.
I think they really stayed up there on that high ground because they almost expected him to throw the soul back up there. It's quite a predictable thing that you would do because you expect the rest of your team to be up there and pick it up. In this case, myztro were all over the shop.
They were able to secure it though. Dansk falls down. Now this is the important thing for Sandels. How can they get this soul off of this obelisk? This is what they struggled with big time last time, was just getting that solid attack and taking that soul away. However, the power up is up any second now alongside the mega health. So two crucial power ups about to respawn at the same time. We can see a lot of them are here trying to contest for it, and Sandels gets behind him. Gaia with the charge gets one of them, and Vu commits suicide. This should be a good pickup. There we go. The protection goes the way of Dansk. They gets it. Garpy drops down, getting a massively amount of damage going down from behind. He's getting hugely outnumbered.
Yeah, even though he had protection, he wasn't going to be able to take on two different people at once when he was that low, combined with the fact they were just completely taking him out with that LG. Tries to throw it away from the point, and they just pick it up anyway. Draku, though, with the protection, but again, a really good amount of, I guess, just sheer focus. When myztro catch someone with protection, they focus that person down to make it really not that much of a danger.
These rails starting to add up though, even though he had protection. Vu with a quick rail upon seeing him come back. Bolat drops himself down, but no, he's going to get out of the air by the LG, and Hypno ready to shoot him down like a clay pigeon.
Now 34%. They were in deadlock before myztro were able to actually deliver that soul to the obelisk, and now they are, even though it's minimal, they are in the lead.
But trying to steal this away, though. We can see myztro already managing to take the lead despite such a strong start from Sandels. Here in Force, trying to keep hold of this 45%, almost halfway done in this first round. Sandels had such a strong start, but unfortunately for them, myztro is just starting to get more control already.
And that's climbing as well. Sandels have access to the soul, but is Dan's going to get away alive? Especially seeing as so many people are trying to focus him down. And actually heard right before he hit the teleporter, he did step into the acid, so he was not going to get away with that damage unchecked.
Hypno holds onto it, passes it over to Vu. Goes that injection, so we can see Hypno and Vu here together. They try and get this through. They're shoving themselves in. 3 of them. Draku gets that shotgun, long-range shotgun kill. Just a standard shotgun, if anything.
I mean, Hypno was particularly low on health. They had a great start, but so far myztro just making it so hard for them to re-secure.
And Garpy was ready to catch that. He tried to pass it up, but Garpy was the closest one to it.
Rat manages to come off better in that LG trade, but no doubt takes a bunch of damage in the exchange.
Oh, there we go, the Dire Orb trying to come through. The Gauntlet's coming through as well. Vu and Garpy, both down here trying to confirm. Hypno gets the quad damage, that could be a problem.
Took a bunch of damage though. Can't really survive much with 45, even if you're going to be a big body like Sorlag. However, Mega Health.
Mega Health will do a few things to pick that one back up again, and Dan falls down to that quad rocket just from behind.
Yeah, shooting those rockets down, not even trying to be out of action for the small amount of time with the rail. Just sit there and defend. And it's climbing. Once more, it's climbing.
Oh, we can see behind Volan. There we go, with 2 rails back to back, is able to get this soul away.
And here comes Gaia with yet another bull rush kill. Really consistent with those.
See. Oh, that was going to be Gauntlet versus Gauntlet.
I'm not quite sure he was actually ready for that Gauntlet to meet his own.
So you've played Knifey Spoony before.
Oh, for crying out loud. That's a
oh,
frag.
they're all dropping down here. No, Sandels, though, the important thing is they're able to get control again. If Vu gets a couple of kills, they're going to get this soul away already. Oh, that's unfortunate.
No.
Sandels, they tried so hard to get that soul back, but they were barely able to hold it before myztro took it again.
Oh, Vu with that really good, actually, reverse movement there. That just looked really stylish. I actually still got access to a injection, too. He's going to pop it, go straight back into the fight. Now, at this stage, actually, at the last minute, Vu is only 2 more injections away from being able to tank a rail. So if it comes to the fact that he might need to take the soul, he's going to be really hard.
All this movement backwards. That was insane. Vu with the knowledge on the map, doing all that, making a full circuit, not even looking in the direction he's moving around. That's the kind of just comfort you need to have on a champion like Anarchy in this mode, where your movement is the difference between how much your team is winning and whether you can even take the soul back. And 1% away, Vu is just doing an amazing job of stopping this. Gaia tries to go in for the charge, misses the charge, but gets the kill anyway. And Draku here with a shotgun. Here we go. They're finally outnumbering them. They've stolen the soul away. They cannot let myztro get this back under any circumstances.
This is the final moment for them. They have a nice amount of percentage already, but the power-up has just spawned. This could be the setter. Hypno has the quad damage. They have to kill this guy as soon as possible.
He's got mega health. Hypno is going to be a mini raid boss in the situation. Volant drops down.
Oh,
Dance
no.
drops down too.
Just going in there and just collecting heads. He still has a nice chunky amount of quad damage left. Just going straight in, no fear whatsoever. And he's going to have the quad damage acid if he needs it, but at this stage he won't even need it at all. Rat gets fragged as well. And at that last moment, Draku picked off.
That was crucial. Vu being able to get him out of the air. Holds on to the obelisk, and 1 round away. Match point is myztro for making the regional finals.
They're going in hard. They're really wanting this. You can tell in the way they're playing, but difficult for Sandels to pull back from. This was their choice. Ruins of Sarnath,
but
clearly a comfortable map for them.
They looked good at the start again. You know, once again, history is repeating itself. They have a good start, but ultimately they're just not able to make it work. When myztro get hold of it and they start controlling the defense, Sandels just seem to really struggle.
But that just comes down to, I just think, really good management of how you work as a team and how you defend. Because if clearly when Sandels was able to control, they do quite well. But when myztro managed to take the soul themselves, they're hard to crack into. That just means that the defense on myztro is just much better.
Well, a big thing that's hurting them is actually getting hold of that power up. Over and over and over again, myztro are just all over it. They get the protection, they get the quad damage, and we've already seen over and over again how impactful that can be. But it's not even just that, you know, it's going to the Sorlag, it's going to the Anarchy, it's going to the Nyx. There doesn't seem to be a bad champion to pick it up, so it doesn't matter who gets it, it's going to make a huge difference.
It's definitely a big element right here. And at the same time, when Sandels do manage to secure that power-up, they're not really able to do anything with it. The protection they get, even with protection, they get focused down so much. They die quickly anyway. If they get quad, they barely get a chance to get any frags before they lose it. And then on the flip side, the power-up goes into the hands of myztro, who do actually make a huge difference with it.
And have already managed to bag themselves 18%. Vu trying to bring this one up. So Sandels were able to take hold of Obelisk A this time. So it's going to swap things around. Because then will position themselves down, just trying to get away through. Hypno taking a lot of damage here. Gets the acid out, but Hell is going to take him down. And Gaia takes him down in retaliation. So now Rat are able to get this towards Obelisk A once again. To start building up this percentage. Barely anything in it right now. You know, 10% might seem a lot, but we've just seen how quickly it can go backwards and forwards. Important thing for Sanders is to hold this as long as they can now. The power-up is up in 10 seconds, Mega Health in 3. Once again, myztro are able to get hold of that power-up. This could be a problem.
At the same time, actually, Vu being that sneaky devil going up behind. And they get protection, but he's not got much health. Who's going to get it?
I think it's safe to say that Sandals were able to take the protection away. No, Hell was able to take it away. Despite there being so many of Sandals there ready to get the kill. He's now outnumbered, but, you know, 80 health on protection. You may as well just quadruple that. This character is going to be hard to take down now.
No fear going straight into the jump pad. He's going to just collect these heads because no one can stop him. Draku tries but gets shut down as well. Hell on a hell of a rampage at this stage.
This is why you cannot let them just hog the power-up every single time it respawns. Just look at this. Running in, no fear with the gauntlet. Doing so much damage to everyone.
Hell's kill streak so far was, before he got fragged, was utterly ridiculous there. Just so much confidence.
Hell looking super strong though at the respawn. Oh no, Railgun. It's taking a lot of damage. Rat falls once again. Guy here, caught out too, only has a machine gun. I'm inclined to think he just spawned 2. He just walked over the rail and was able to swap to it quickly enough. And Vu getting a good couple of kills. Garpy drops
that last possible moment, but they're still doing a great job of defending. They're over the halfway mark now. This is when the pressure for Sandels is going to start to add up. They have to get this soul and they have to get it now. They cannot afford to be in a position where they must make a last-second comeback.
Indeed. He's going to drop down to that shotgun though. There's no way Draku's going to drop that kill. Oh, however, Hypno there with the rockets. AoE damage, just doing so much by itself, or splash damage, I should say.
There's not much he was going to be able to do to really prevent that as well in such a close quarter situation against that rocket.
Oh, he goes in for the kill. Vu's getting aggressive. He's trying to get back, and Dansk falls down to another rocket. You can see just how scary you can be when you've got that speed boost and a rocket behind you. Speaking of rocket, though, Rat's going to get that kill there when they're fighting over the rocket, but Vu and Hell are going to take some rocket kills in return. Rocket being by far the most favored weapon in this entire match.
Now the power up, 7 seconds. I mean, this could be the final power up that we see with the amount of percentage that myztro need to take. Rat tries to steal, but he's too slow on the uptake, and Hypno gets the quad. They try and take him out, but he just can't. Here we go.
This is a problem, though. I mean, quite weak, 75 health, only 10 armor, but it is Sorlag. Gonna top himself up quite well. Find enough pickups, but same time,
she comes.
10% left to go.
She's going to have that quad damage acid. If she can get it off before she goes down, that quad damage acid is going to do so much damage to these people.
Oh, Guy there trying to stop it, but Hypno doesn't let him. 5% left to go. I don't know if Sandels can stop it now.
They are going to fight. Draku comes through, but Dansk commits suicide at the last minute.
Draku gets taken out, but Rat's there too. Is he in position though?
Nope.
No, he is not. Unfortunately, Sandels will be falling short here. And myztro will be moving forward into qualifying for the regionals.
Now, I think that was just a really good performance from myztro. They played super well. It was a level of control. That is the key to sacrifices, just making sure that you control the map. You control those important weapons that opponents will try and take on spawn to make a comeback. You control the power-up, which they did beautifully. But the most important thing, controlling the obelisk, making sure that they held it pretty much as often as possible. And the second it goes maybe not in their favor and the soul goes outside of the obelisk, getting it back as quickly as possible. But I think it was just a good combination of they had a good amount of damage on deck, they had good beef, excellent mobility, so they were rarely going to get outrun, if ever. They pretty much were never in a situation where they weren't in control of where the opponent was going to be, because they could always catch up. You know, Anarchy and Nyx combined, a great asset to have together on the the flip side of that, really good performance from Sorlag as well. That was fantastic.
Even though he just flew miles off the map, at least he was able to throw the soul back onto the map first. I think we didn't quite pick up on that at first, but it was able to turn a massive mistake into well salvaged, I think.
So that does mean that myztro will be moving on into the regionals to reach the to match the rest of the competition. So those matches are already looking kind of juicy, if you ask me.
I'm sad to see Sandels fall down, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
You know, they played so well today, and they worked so hard last week too, but ultimately that is just the way it goes sometimes, and when it came down to it, myztro were just able to take the lead.
In this kind of situation, you play the best you can, and if it doesn't work out, then that's just the way it is. The better team will always have to move on. And in this instance, the better team was, in fact, myztro. So looking forward to seeing them play. Our matches by no means are finished. But in the last moment there, we saw the change to Ruins of Sarnath, because Sandels had done such an amazing performance on the Ruins of Sarnath. You maybe thought, is this going to be their chance of a comeback with how badly Burial Chamber went for them? But it just wasn't meant to be, and that means myztro moving on.